Hi, this is Marilyn Lohman, Service Hydrologist at WFO Pendleton. I will be reviewing the mountain snowpack that has occurred over the last few months and the water supply forecast for the coming spring and summer. This map, produced by the Natural Resource Conservation Service, shows the percent of normal snow water equivalent, or the amount of water being held in the snowpack, for various basins across the state of Washington. January's precipitation was still below normal, but there was some improvement over the very dry conditions seen in December. On February 1st, there was 50 to 60% of normal snowpack in the central and southern Washington Cascades, with the lower Snake Basin indicating about 85% in normal conditions. Within the lower Snake Basin, the Walla Walla Basin had 65% of normal snow water equivalent. We'll look at a few locations within the basins to see how the snowpack is accumulating. These charts show the snow water equivalent for the water year, October through September. The blue line is the maximum observed, while the red line is the minimum. The green line is the average. Using these charts, we can see how the snow water equivalent accumulates throughout the winter and spring and compare it to the average. For this site, the Tushy Snowtell site is in the Walla Walla Basin, around 5,500 feet. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site had little accumulation during the month and continues to be well below normal. The Sassy Ridge Snowtell site is located in the Upper Yakima Basin at 4,200 feet. There was some accumulation during the first part of the month and then again at the end of the month, with some improvement overall, but still way below normal. The Bumping Ridge Snowtell site is around 4,600 feet in the central Washington Cascades. Looking at the black line, we can see some good accumulations during the first part of the month, and then a slight increase at the end, but as with the previous locations, amounts continue to be well below normal. Across Oregon, this graphic from February 1st shows the percent of normal snow water equivalent, with the snowpack extremely low over a large part of the state. Amounts were only 20 to 30% in normal over the Cascades, with slightly better amounts in the John Day Basin at around 50% in normal. The Umatilla Basin and Grand Ronde Basins range from 70 to 75% in normal. We'll look at some individual sites within the basins in the next several slides. In the lower Deschutes Columbia Basin area, Clear Lake Snowtell is at an elevation of 3,500 feet, quite a low elevation site. Looking at the black line, the current year's observation, there is very little snowpack at this location, with the higher elevation sites seeing slightly better amounts. In the Upper Deschutes Basin, Three Creek Meadows Snowtell site is at about 5,600 feet. We can look at the solid black line and note that the site had a small increase at the start of January, and then held nearly steady for the rest of the month and continues to be well below normal. In the John Day Basin, the Blue Mountain Springs Snowtell site at 5,900 feet. This location had little accumulation throughout the month and remains well below normal. In fact, as of the start of February, this site was reporting some of the lowest amounts since the Snowtell was installed in 1979. For the Umatilla Basin in the Blue Mountains, we can use the High Ridge site at 4,900 feet. Looking at the black line, we can see that there was some accumulation at the start of the month, but more storms moving through at mid to late month gave it a good boost, but still remains a little bit below normal. In the Grand Ronde Basin, the Moss Springs Snowtell site at 5,800 feet continues to show a good accumulation of snow by the end of January, with an especially large jump right at the end of the month. This is one of the few sites near normal across the region. The Northwest River Forecast Center uses Ensemble Streamflow Prediction, or ESP generated forecasts, as the official water supply method. The 30-year runoff normals covering the years 1981 to 2010 are being used. For all of the published locations, the updated normals are less than the 1971 to 2000 dataset. This is due to a relatively dry runoff period from 2001 to 2010. New ESP forecasts will be published on the Northwest RFC's website at a minimum at once per week, but may be updated daily at the discretion of the River Forecast Center. For updated forecasts and more information on ESP forecasts, please see the River Forecast Center's website at the address given. This map from the Northwest River Forecast Center shows a snapshot of the water supply forecast for the coming season. We can see the normal to above normal forecast amounts. The yellow and green dots are generally over northern Idaho and Montana, with a few locations in northeast Oregon. Most of the Cascade region is expected to see amounts below normal, with well below normal, or the red dots, expected in the Snake River area of southern Idaho. We'll look at a few locations in more specific terms. For the Yakima River system, we'll look at the Yakima River near Parker. Looking at this plot, the solid green line running through the background is the 30-year normal. The box plots show the entire range of forecast values, with the blue dot the 50th percentile, or most likely value. We'll be using the 50th percentile in comparing it to normal. The volume forecast for the Yakima River near Parker continues to decline, with amounts between 90 and 95% of normal expected. The forecast volume of water, the blue dot, for the Grand Ronde River near Troy is expected to be slightly above normal at right around 105% of normal. These forecasts have increased as some snowpack has accumulated during the last month. Looking at the Umatilla River at Pendleton for the period April through September, the volume forecast has increased slightly and is at around 87% of normal. For the site, the Columbia River at the Dells, we once again see the average plotted in green, with the most likely value, the blue dot. The volume for the April through September period has decreased from around 95% in normal seen at the start of January to about 87% of normal. The previous scene plots and additional water supply locations are available in an interactive form on the Northwest River Forecast Center's website at the address listed on the concluding slide. The 3-month outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for February, March, and April calls for generally seasonal temperatures and equal chances for above or below normal precipitation. For more information on the unseasonably dry or drought conditions both here in the Northwest and across the country, please visit the National Integrated Drought Information System webpage at the address listed above. You can view the Drought Monitor, look at current and forecast conditions, as well as impacts from drought, and also find resources relating to drought. Once again, additional water supply forecasts and the interactive forecasts can be found at the Northwest River Forecast Center's webpage at the address listed. Please join me again in early March to see how the snowpack is progressing and for updated water supply forecasts. If you have any questions, please contact me by email or by the phone numbers listed here. Thank you.